Everybody, this is Kane from Appalachian ADV here on the Appalachian ADV podcast. Today I got my buddy Michael Waterford. He's going to sit here and talk to us about all kind of adventure travel stuff and some great things we got upcoming next year. So how you doing this morning, Mike?
Doing great. Getting caffeine as we speak. Excited to be here. Thanks for having me. Big
Hell
fan.
yeah, man. Got to pump it up in the morning for sure. We're here sitting nice and bright and early and having a great conversation. So before we dive into like the motorcycle stuff, and kind of where we're headed with that. Let's give everybody a good introduction to you, kind of like where you're from, how you got into the motorcycle, but all those other you have a ton of outdoor experience. I just want to talk about a lot of that stuff today. So
Well, sure. Michael Waterford from Bloomington, Indiana, South Central Indiana. Grew up on a Honda XR80 in the woods. My grandpa drove one up the driveway when I was 8 years old, and I proceeded to wreck it and my body for a couple of years. Um, at 15, I bought myself a little Honda Rebel 250 to get out of the house. In Indiana, you can drive yourself on a motorcycle on public streets at 15 on a bike. So
nice.
I took full advantage of that and was riding around to high school on a Honda Rebel. It's a cool kid. And after I went to college at Purdue and kind of wanted to get out of Indiana and see the world a bit. And so I started pretty seriously taking on, adventure tourism and adventure travel. I don't know, some people call them expeditions and trips and kind of a lifestyle in a way.
Yeah.
Lived, and I refer living in a place for being there for, 4 to 6 months. I've lived in a few different countries and
Yeah.
New Zealand, India, Germany, and a bunch of different states, Hawaii, Wyoming, Michigan, Indiana, clearly, and a smattering of others, Oregon. And took full advantage of being in those locations. While living in Europe, I would try to visit all the countries that, I might not ever see again. My first trip I remember was to Budapest, and, we went and saw the sights with a friend and got lost and ended up being late for work the next week because the plane or the train split and we were on the wrong end and went to a different country.
Whoops.
But yeah, lessons learned.
Yeah.
But yeah, so after a while of doing that, I wanted to become kind of a sponsored content creator. You know how Patagonia has sponsored athletes and stuff, and
Yeah.
I was able to do that for a number of years, obtaining some sponsorship and doing some pretty full-scale expeditions, that led to, river trips. Paddled the Mississippi River twice. I have done a lot of hiking and climbing expeditions in mountain ranges all over the world. And I got a little older and had a few injuries and kind of slowed down and fell back in love with motorcycling and adventure motorcycling and found a good group of friends who all ride together and wrench together. And just feel like I've fallen back into where I belong with adventure dual sport bikes. So
Yeah.
it's been a long journey.
So you went, you said you went to Purdue and you graduated from Purdue, right?
Yeah.
And so was it what did you do there? Was it hot like tourism, some kind of tourism thing, right? Hospital and tourism?
Yeah. So at the time they're really good school for that. They were, number one in the nation at the time. I think they still are.
Hmm.
And what they're really good at it was expanding my little, Bloomington, Indiana mind. I didn't know what opportunities were out there,
Yeah.
And so I started, going to trade shows and going on study abroad trips and going, any chance I could and going so far as getting loans to go on student trips and stuff,
Yeah.
to kind of get out and expand my horizons, and start seeing the world. And that culminated with a study abroad trip in Switzerland my senior year at Purdue, which if you've ever been to Switzerland, it is heaven on earth.
Yeah.
Mountain climbing, canyoneering, motorcycling. It is outdoor perfection. They've refined it,
Yeah.
and came back with a lust for travel and knew that I needed to live abroad for a while. And so I was lucky enough to find a job working for the American Department of Defense at a military base in Germany,
Nice.
um, where I worked in a hotel. Essentially, it was a DoD base
Yeah.
and an MWR facility. I'm sure you know what that is.
Yeah.
And yeah, we would host like the G8 summit and things like that. And I was one of the servers at those types of things, and
Nice.
it was an excuse to be there. And while I was there, I was climbing the Alps and going to the BMW rally in Garmisch, Germany, and seeing another perspective of the world. And it was a lot of fun.
Yeah. If not everybody needs to or should go to college, but I think for those that do, I think that's what you're looking for is to build life experiences and understand the world a little bit better. And then you having that opportunity for you to go over to Europe like you did, that gives you like a really different perspective when you actually can go to those countries that you only see on the news and kind of interact with the people, go outdoors and kind of get a feel for their nature. It helps with a better perspective of the world, I think.
Absolutely. I think, and more to the point, I think adventure riding in foreign countries or outside of the continental United States, while I'm super grateful to be able to ride here, and I've got good roads in every direction and good gravel and dirt tracks all over the place. But there's something about being immersed in a place where you are the stranger. You don't speak the language.
Yeah.
It is another level of adventure,
Yeah.
and um, kind of once you go there, in my opinion, there's not much better. It's a lot of fun. So,
Well, since we're talking about this international travel thing, something I remember us talking about before was the fact that you did the Mongol Rally. I don't remember when that was, but I remember you talked about doing the Mongol Rally. So if you could, like, tell everybody what that is and what you did when you did it, because it's a pretty amazing thing.
yeah, and it's not, sadly, because the world has changed. It's no longer what it once was. We kind of
Yeah.
hit the heyday of it.
Yeah.
Um, I had lived in Europe, came back, was living in Jackson Hole, Wyoming, and got a message from a friend. I was kind of going through some turmoil. I'd broken up with a girl and was had a job I didn't like, but was sitting on some money. And I got a message from a friend saying he had lived in Europe with me, and we'd done a half marathon together in Ireland, and we'd done
Yeah.
some climbing trips, and we'd done some adventures in Europe together.
Nice.
And he was looking for a friend that knew how to motorcycle. And I knew enough. I didn't know much at the time. I'd never turned a wrench, but I knew how to ride a bike, and I
Uh-huh.
knew that dual sports would be good for this kind of trip. And he said, "Do you want to drive to Mongolia?" And I said, "Sounds like an all right time." So we looked at maps together. We got together in Jackson and kind of pieced together a plan, and then started piecing together some visas. And he went abroad to do a work exchange in Germany to be there and to buy bikes
Yeah.
and to make some money before the trip. And later on, I flew over. The Mongol Rally was and is, well, we refer to it as motoring stupidity on a global scale, otherwise called AKA the Festival of Slow. Um,
Yeah.
it's a multi-country rally expedition with cars, emergency vehicles, and small motorbikes under 125cc. Cars have to be under 1 liter, and then there's a segment for emergency vehicles. It's a fundraiser for the people of Ulaanbaatar, Mongolia.
Hmm.
Um, it's kind of a two-part fundraiser. As a team, you fundraise for a charity of your choice, as well as for the Ulaanbaatar charity. So
Yeah.
at the time in Mongolia, it's really hard to get quality vehicles. It's been since, 14 years since I was there. But getting a Japanese dual sport motorcycle in Mongolia is like getting gold, like something that's reliable, and that's was at the time hard to get.
Yeah.
So essentially, the rally is a party at the start and a party at the end, and you take as long as you can to get what turned out to be over 11,000 miles for us.
Mm,
Um, and we did it on Suzuki DR 125s. Um, we convoyed with two guys on Honda C90s
yeah.
and two television presenters, Norwegian TV show hosts in a Jeep fire truck. Um, and we spent 53 days, only one zero mileage day,
Yeah.
traveling through, I don't know, 12 countries or so.
Yeah.
Uh,
Where does it start?
Starts in London.
Okay.
Um, we picked it up. We missed, they have kind of two starting lines. One is 3 days before the other. We picked up a second one in Czech Republic.
Okay.
There's a big festival and a castle, and we all camped out, and there's fields full of vehicles. You know, there's 400 or 500 teams the year we did it, so it's not a small scale thing. You know,
Hmm.
it's a parade of vehicles when everybody rolls out. You know, we picked our charity, we picked our bikes, found some friends, you know, and very, very ignorantly rolled out without much. Like, we were wearing backpacks. We didn't have proper gear to strap onto the bikes. You know,
Yeah. Yeah.
this is 2011, and at the time, I'd never seen Long Way Around. I didn't know that existed. I
Yeah.
was I was essentially a country boy who liked backpacking,
Hmm.
and knew that, oh, I've got camp gear. I'll be fine. You know. Um, I remember we stopped in Austria on like the second day. I was at this shows how ignorant I was. I didn't think that I needed fresh tires. I was just like, oh, what I've got is fine, you know. uh, and we stopped at this motorcycle dealership just to see what they had, and the guy was like concerned. He's like, okay, you need some things. So he gave us like an oil change, and he gave me some pannier bags, and
Yeah. That's super
long story
nice.
short, yeah, it was a wild trip. We had so many borders to cross. A lot of drama happened, multiple wrecks. One of the C90s broke in half. Um, we had at one point we had been robbed 3 or 4 times. You know, whether we were out in the desert and or more aggressively like in person.
Yeah.
But it didn't help that we were dressed in tuxedos and I had a mullet. Uh, and stuck out like a sore thumb. But it was great. It was one of those life-changing things where I was like, oh, I could do this the rest of my life.
Yeah.
I was really sad when it ended,
Yeah.
and kind of came back to the States with like, oh, this is what I want to do for a living. You know,
Yeah.
somebody's making this their job, and that I sure would like for that to be me.
Yeah.
And
Yeah. Adventure as a lifestyle could be a job for sure if you figure it out, and you can make it work. It definitely takes a lot of time and effort, and you got to, give up some things and find money in other places to make the other thing work. Like it's definitely a possibility, but you got to work for it.
yeah, and that's essentially what happened. You know, I was hustling. I was writing for some folks, content creation, early, blogging and vlogging. This is,
Yeah.
15 years ago, internet, so YouTube wasn't a thing yet. And taking gear from where I could, people that would sponsor me some gear, and planning expeditions and then executing them on like, I remember the day I started my second trip down the Mississippi River. I celebrated the fact that the day I got on the river, my bank account was back at $0.
Yeah.
Like I was in the red
Yeah.
for like all of this, and it's good to not be there anymore, but also I wish I was traveling every day still. So
Yeah. Like real quick, maybe, because I find that interesting too, that you basically like through paddled the Mississippi River like more than once, like you did it 2 times. So like real quick, like what made you want to do that? And then you were attempting some kind of record, right, on one of those. Like, can you talk about that real quick?
yeah, you have to have something to become a sponsored adventure athlete. You kind of have to, well, when you're not pretty enough, right? If you're gorgeous, just get online, you'll be fine.
Yeah.
No, I had to essentially, create a business model, and so my adventures would build on each other.
Yeah.
So I did a casual paddle of the Mississippi River, and it was like 100 days, and got out of the river and was sponsored by a beer company and had a big partner, and it
Yeah.
was it was a life-changing, wonderful opportunity.
Yeah.
The river is unbelievable. It's the amount of adventure that's on your doorstep in the United States is so underrated
Yeah.
because it's so easy to be. You can be sitting in the middle of St. Louis, Missouri on a kayak and be completely alone. You know,
Yeah.
slipping through a major city unseen is the weirdest thing underneath the arch in the middle
Yeah.
of the
Yeah.
night. You know, it's wild experience.
Yeah.
So they would compound on each other, right? So the first time
Mhm.
I did it was kind of to learn. The second time, I'm not going far enough back. Forgive me, I'm jumping around all over the place. I did a
Okay.
bunch of hiking expeditions. I
Yeah.
did some paddling expeditions, and I did some climbing expeditions.
Hmm.
The culmination I wanted to achieve was what I called the big year. And in 1 year, I wanted to do the longest river, the longest trail, and the tallest mountain in the continental United States in 365 days, which is technically possible, and I still don't know of anybody that's done it.
Yeah.
I clearly did not achieve that goal, but I was fit enough to climb and hike, and I
Hmm.
needed to get fit enough to paddle, so I paddled the river once, and then I went back later after I got some sponsorship and all that stuff, with the proper gear and a support crew. And sadly, that speed record, solo kayaking speed record attempt, um, didn't finish. I got to Helena, Arkansas,
Mm.
and well, my support team was pulled from the river for kind of a family emergency thing.
Okay.
And in order to do any kind of speed record, you can't do it alone. You know,
Yeah.
um, they were, I would pull up Riverside and they would have a bag of high calorie dense food and refill my water, and then I'd set off again. You know,
Yeah. Yeah.
like it was 2,600 miles of as fast as you can paddle without breaking your body and breaking your gear.
Yeah.
And while I still broke my body, you can't do it without support. So
Yeah.
whenever that failed, I kind of pulled back from paddling, tucked tail, and came back to Indiana, and have been kind of in the adventure motorcycling scene ever since,
Yeah.
and getting more and more into it.
There's something else that I noticed. It was maybe you can talk about is that Peruvian moto mission. Like what was the Peruvian moto mission?
Yeah, so Moto Mission Tours is I'm blanking the guy's name right now. Very nice guy who has a family down there. He's an American,
Hmm.
and he does off-road training. He's a very talented rider down near Cusco,
Mm.
which is kind of where people set off for the Inca Trail and stuff like that.
Yeah.
I, at the time, was trying to do these expeditions and wanted to do something interesting, and I found a charity in Indiana that was called Gear Going Global. And this gentleman, what he would do is collect a lot of like soccer equipment and school supplies. That was what I took. And then we would go to really hard to reach places and deliver soccer equipment and school supplies to children in places where, you
Yeah.
couldn't get them.
Hmm.
And so I did about 6 weeks in Peru, Bolivia, and Chile, and the motorcycling was only a part of that. But we got on CRF 450s, went from Cusco, went northeast into the Peruvian jungle, and didn't look back for a few days. And we'd come across, and there were nothing more than truly mud huts, and there'd be a family of three living in it, and we would stop, talk to them, have a cup of tea, and leave the kid with a brand new soccer ball and some coloring books, and whatever we had. We had these big duffels strapped to the bikes, and we would just kind of hand out gear.
Yeah.
um, the final point was to get to the school, and we did get to that school, and we delivered the majority of the gear. And this school was, man, it was on a cliffside overlooking some really cool stuff.
Yeah.
Uh, but it was made of thatch, like it wasn't a fancy building. Um, but, there was a bunch of kids running around, and they had a flat area with would-be goalposts.
Yeah.
And so the soccer equipment was a hit. We had like jerseys and the whole thing. And so I think, it I don't know this, but it could have been the first time they had jerseys for team wear. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Yeah.
It was a really cool moment, really humbling experience, and just a lot of fun too. You know, ripping
Yeah.
around. Peru is kind of like Mongolia in a way. It's just vast landscapes that are, you know, public land.
Yeah.
And so if you see a direction, you can just go in that direction. There's no, you don't, there doesn't have to be a trail. There doesn't have to be a road. You can just
Yeah.
ride where you want to ride. And so that's always a lot of fun. So,
Yeah.
and goodness, the single track in Peru is terrifying. The cliffs there are very real. It was a week before I got there, but he was doing a training with somebody else, this guy that I was riding with, and one of the bikes fell off a cliff, and the dude held on, but the bike went,
Oh yeah.
and I don't know if they even ever got it back. Like it was very, very far down.
That's hilarious. Yeah, it's good to like when you can find like a attach a charity work thing to something. Like I was lucky enough in the Air Force that we did a few humanitarian missions, and being in the military, they had us work with Indian Health Services, and they had us working with local Hawaiians. In both of those instances, the U.S. military was basically used to run out the Indians and overthrow the Hawaiian monarchy. So like mending some fences, going into schools and like interacting with the kids and stuff. It was super fun time. There wasn't motorcycles involved in mine, but it was still a great experience.
Yeah, soft power, you know, using kindness to win people over, I think is an important skill to have, especially when traveling.
Yeah, definitely for
Yeah.
sure. So like I think it's a good point for us to kind of like talk about like our connection. Like I think the first time I met you was when you were riding behind me at Well and Wayne weekend. Is that correct?
Yeah, I didn't know who you were, but
Yeah.
I was lucky to be on your group ride.
Yeah, that was fun. So like we I've been going to Wayland Wayne for a while now, and that's kind of where I first started riding. So I put together a nice little loop for Chad, and then I started, leading some people around, and um, now, luckily now he's got like a bunch of guys that are doing the same thing, and it's making that event like much more interesting, I think, to people. So you get a really great view of that area. It's such a beautiful area. But I remember like the first time I met you, I remember you guys being behind me, and then at that time, I think you weren't the only one who had no idea who I was. It was still kind of early in the Appalachian ADV thing, and I remember stopping at the end of my loop, kind of by the old campground that we used to use, and then that's kind of where I was like, hey, this is me. This is what I do. If you had fun following around here, I do these other things in other places. If you want to come out, and you are part of a group there in Indiana, Knarps, which I think you should talk about a little bit. And I reached out to you and said, "Hey, I'm looking for support for some of these events. Like, if you want to just make me up some stickers or something like that." So, you and Knarps have been very supportive of the Fools Ride over the past couple of years. So, why don't you tell everybody what the hell Knarps is?
Well, that's a very kind way to put it, and we're happy to just be a part of it. And the Knarps is our little moto gang out of Bloomington, Indiana. We are an inclusive gang, if you will. It's not really a gang. It's a bunch of misfits who like turning wrenches and riding bikes.
Yeah,
And you know, are we like all kinds of bikes. So the group started as a moped club before me, which is now, I've been a NARP proper for, I don't know, maybe close to 10 years, it feels like.
yeah,
Um, but yeah, when we got in, I was a fan of Honda C90s, and everybody was running around on Tomoses and little Benellis and all these little kind of retro antique bikes that they'd pieced together. And I don't know if you know Treatland.tv, but going on there and buying parts, it's a
yeah,
moped superstore. And we'd rip around town and kind of go on longer trips too. We'd go on overnights on these old mopeds and stuff, and it was just a blast. And I knew the Honda Cubs were the place to be because I'd seen them do things that I could never believe.
yeah,
I still have a couple in the garage. And yeah, so this group has grown in numbers over time. It ebbs and flows. We're a college town, and some people come in and just need a resource for wrenching and need advice on bikes and stuff. But yeah, we do everything from mopeds, dual sports, road bikes. There's a couple Harleys in the group. It's all kind of folks. Bloomington recently lost kind of our last local dealership.
Mm.
We've got a Harley dealership that's fairly close, but really they're not, you know, involved in the community at all. So we're kind of the only resource for like wrenching help. We have wrench nights generally once a week, pretty much year round. February is a little slow, but because nobody has a heated garage anymore.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, we do wrench nights and we ride on Sundays and we have small bike rides and big bike rides, and it's just a really good group of people. We've got access to a couple quarries, so limestone quarries are a big deal locally, and my brother's a big wig at a quarry. And so, one of them's like 300 acres, and it's
Mm.
got a huge gravel pit, and it's got single track, and it's got two-lane gravel, kind of
Yeah.
fast stuff. And so we spend a lot of time out at the quarry ripping around, and yeah, it's a great group. It's a great group, and has taught me a lot, and I think has been a good resource for a lot of people for a long time. Um,
Yeah, that's great. Especially being in a college town like that. That's an easy way to like meet new people when you move into town or whatever. Like that's a pretty awesome little setup.
yeah. And then getting to Wayland Wayne, yeah, we wanted to do more and more. We were going to kind of local dual sport adventure rallies and heard about Wayland Wayne, and Buddy Brant and I went and rode along with you that year. I think it's 4 years ago now.
I think so, yeah.
Um, I was on an XR 650 at the time, and I remember having a ton of fun and watching you ride and being like, that dude is playful on a T7. I want to become playful on a T7. So now I've got a T7 and
Uh-huh.
I'm getting to playful. And I'm actually leading a ride at Wayland Wayne this year for the first time to hopefully try to,
Yeah,
kind of give back a little bit. We've planned a route, Brant and I, and going to take some folks out and
awesome.
volunteer and support the event. That we love that event. Chad does a
Yeah,
great
man.
job, and everybody's really kind. And
That's awesome. So, what bikes do you actually have now in your garage? Like, what's your range?
prepare yourself, it's everywhere. So starting with the little ones, we've got a Honda Express 50, which was my girlfriend's or my fiance's now grandpa's farm bike.
Mm.
We've got a Honda C70, 1981 Honda C70 Passport, which is the Cub.
Mm-hmm.
We've got a modern 21 Honda Cub 125.
Nice.
I've got a KLR 650 in '08.
Yeah.
I've got a CRF 450 RL,
Mm-hmm.
which is relatively new. I've got a T7, and there's a Harley Sportster in there, and there's I'm sure I'm forgetting something. I don't, yeah, it's a smattering.
Yeah.
So
I remember you bringing that T7 over to we do that Great Adventures Begin Here rally at Street Track and Trail, and I remember you reached out to me and said, "Hey, you were planning on doing the MABDR," and we just so happened to be somewhat along your route, so you stopped in for a few days with that 10RA and hung out with us at the rally, and then went and did the MABDR.
yeah, it was a great time. I've been, my work schedule is hectic, and I've wanted to do more Appalachian ADV events, and sadly, it just hasn't worked out often enough.
Yeah.
But look to do more in the future. And yeah, street track and trail and spending a couple days with you was a great like. All right, let's get into the mode of riding. Let's do it with a group before I set off on a solo tour of the Mapter, which
Yeah.
was my first BDR and first kind of long multi-day ride by myself I've done
Yeah.
in a number of years.
Yeah.
And so I think it was not only fun, but it was smart to like, okay, let's get warmed up here.
Yeah.
Let's make sure I got all the right gear and have, spend some time in a town before I'm solo in the woods for a number of days. And
Yeah.
yeah, it was a great week. I would do the Mapter again. Hopefully we'll knock out some more BDRs this year too. So
Yeah, man. Yeah, I like to do I've been trying to like put together an any BDR ride for a few years, just timing wise and all the other crap that I'm doing, it makes it hard to fit it in. But I'm really hoping this year or next year to definitely hit the NE. And now that new SE that's coming out, it looks pretty freaking sweet too. So I think maybe in a couple years, it'd be awesome to do like let's just go do the whole East Coast BDR, start at the bottom and end at the top in Canada. That'd be freaking fun.
Now we're talking.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm a huge proponent of what BDR does, and I definitely, side note, might try to throw you some dates to get that on a Northeast BDR trip going.
Oh yeah,
Uh,
man.
but another little fun thing that's worth mentioning is that adventure riding, Indiana isn't known for adventure travel, but we did put together a nice track called, we call it the Dusty Buzzard, and it's
Yeah.
an 850-mile loop of what we think is the best gravel roads in Indiana.
Hmm.
And so shout out to the Dusty Buzzard, and if anybody ever wants to pass through Indiana in a more interesting way and see some sights and ride some, it's there's a lot of buzzards and it's really dusty because it's all limestone gravel. And so, but I love ripping on fast gravel. That's one of my favorite things to
Blast.
do.
The blast, yeah.
Yeah. So, to me, it's enjoyable, and not everybody comes to Indiana for riding, and if you do, it's not often for 850 miles, but
Yeah.
we have something to ride.
That's funny, like the longer I've been doing this and out there and like finding people like you that are out in these states that people just don't normally think about adventure travel. And you said it earlier in the conversation that there's just so many opportunities in the states that people don't realize. And I kind of figured that out early on, just like me dicking around here in Ohio, where I'm like, oh my God, this is like it might be a short stretch of a thing, but it's super beautiful. The views are great. The gravel's fun. Like, and you, without like people like you getting out there finding it and then putting it out there in the world, nobody knows about this stuff. And that is another, just like the BDR. Eventually, they ideally want to be in all 50 states. And the fact that we have people out there like you doing it, it really makes me feel like there should not be a problem to definitely put together a route in everywhere.
Yeah, I completely agree. There's demand in all 50 states. People ride in all 50 states, and I actually love, Indiana. They call it the crossroads of America or whatever. But I
Hmm.
mean it when we say we've got good roads in every direction.
Yeah.
And while we might not have huge mountain passes, the roads are fun, and that's
Yeah.
the part you actually ride, and the
Yeah.
scenery is good enough.
Hmm.
A quick shout out to the guys at Foo Fest. That's a super successful ADV dual sport event. We've got Lawrence County off road. They have a ADV dual sport event.
Hmm.
Um, Ch Chad Christie with the Southeast Indiana guys. They have a bunch of events, a couple loops that they've created as well that
Yeah.
are really beautiful. There's good riding. If you think about it, I hate to sound cliche, but Indiana's as big as France, right? Like
Hmm.
it's a nothing state here in the States, but there is so much here to do. And if you've got a good motorcycle, goodness, you don't really get tired of the roads. I'll say that.
Yeah. It like the thing I like about because I've ridden out west and it's everything you think. It's and more because it is so vast.
Hmm.
The terrain is just gorgeous. But the difference out east is you have pieces of that. You're definitely not like 100 miles from nothing. But I think the part that I like a lot is like them little small towns with the little mom and pops. There's a tons of those out there. And if you can connect like really great rides in between those towns, it's just amazing. And then you're showcasing these little towns, you're bringing some money into them, like helping out the community. Like it's different. It doesn't mean it's not as good or it's bad or whatever. It's just as good out here as it is out west. It's just different.
Yeah, yeah, completely agree. I've been to all those places and more, and I chose to live here. You know what I mean?
Mm.
So,
Yeah,
for somebody that prioritizes adventure travel,
yeah,
I chose Indiana, and
yeah,
yes, it's imperfect, but it's also good enough. You
yeah.
know, like I came back from Mongolia, and I would meet people out in the middle of Mongolia on 90s Africa Twins with extra tires strapped on and had been living off the bike for years, and I'm like, I've never seen a person like this in America. Like,
Yeah,
why doesn't it exist? And the fact that it's here now, it's growing, it's the fastest growing segment.
yeah,
It's all worth celebrating for not only our clearly passion, but we're leaning into this thing pretty heavily.
yeah, yeah, basically.
So it's exciting.
Yeah, man.
Exciting.
Yeah,
I heard a did I tell you this? I heard this thing the other day where somebody was like, "It's the new van life. It's going to become cliche. It's going
yeah.
to become mainstream," and
Yeah.
I'm not mad about it.
No,
You know what I mean? Because
there's
there's hardly a way that you can fake riding a motorcycle that's not in a way positive.
that's the thing I feel, and I have, I have partnered with PAOHV because they are mainly geared towards side by sides and quads, but they do have like a motorcycle side to them. But I feel like power sports in general can be stronger if we work together. But that said, any knucklehead with a couple bucks can buy a side by side and ride it through almost any terrain that they want to because the side by side is built to be idiot proof.
Yeah.
Where when you're on a bike, you can't fake it.
Yeah.
You have to build the skill and the technique to be able to do it. So part of it, I think it will get more popular, and people will probably say, "Yeah, I don't really want to do that because it's too hard,"
Hmm.
or they'll switch to a smaller bike, which is fine with me because I'm covering both of those.
Yeah.
But it's harder to lie when you're on a big bike.
Yeah, motorcycling's not for everyone, and that's a good thing.
Yeah,
Adventure riding is for even less people.
yeah,
But I like people getting out in nature. I like people pushing themselves, taking chances. I don't know if you've ever heard that slogan, but like it's good for people. It keeps them humble. Even the cockiest people I know, we both know a few of them,
yeah,
are you get them out in the woods and suddenly there's some teamsmanship and suddenly there's hey I can't do this hill, some humility and you
yeah,
know like it's good for the world. Adventure
yeah,
riding is good for the world.
yeah. No matter how good you are, you're gonna fall, and
Yeah.
it helps. Like I've definitely this past year I fell pretty hard 2 times, and
Mm.
it helps keep me in check. And it's not gonna stop me by any means, but it does remind me you could still fall, dumbass. So,
Mhm.
make sure you're on your shit when you're riding. So
Dude, I'm just celebrating right now like a year and a half since breaking my leg and
yeah,
like I'm back at the gym now. I ran for the first time a few weeks ago, and I'm like, talk about lessons learned, like don't want it to happen again. Ride within your limits. Don't be an idiot. Wear your gear. It's healthy reminders for sure.
yeah. Well, I think that's an awesome segue for us to start talking about what you guys are planning on doing over there in Indiana in 2026. So if you're interested in telling us what you guys are putting together, let's talk about that.
Oh, well, thank you. Yeah. So, a few years back, one of the Knarps, you know, we met through the Knarps,
Yeah.
and Cameron, good buddy now. His family, and if you've never heard of it, has for 20 plus years has hosted a Harley rally, and it's called Hogrock, and essentially they've built property for this Harley rally,
Yeah.
right? So it's got stages and bathrooms and showers and all the stuff. Well, Cameron and I have been getting more and more into adventure dual sport riding, and it's actually in just across the river in Illinois, Cave in Rock, Illinois.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of tri-state area. I don't know if you can call it that, but Kentucky, Indiana,
Yeah.
um, yeah, Illinois. It's along the Ohio River, so it's literally on the water's edge. And we are going to be hosting, our version of an adventure dual sport rally. So there's going to be music every night. There's going to be vendors, demo rides. We're going to have options for lessons from Appalachian ADV and hopefully a few others. And there's going to be an on the grounds grass track. The property is hundreds of acres, and so we've got miles of single track and some gravel two track, and it's all along the Ohio River. So it's all really beautiful. And yeah, I think we should be able to do it, and let people have a nice adventure rally weekend for really, we're trying to do it in a way where it's easy for everybody to afford. We don't want price to be a barrier.
Yeah.
And yeah, we're calling it Hogrock Adventure Rally because the grounds are called Hogrock. And yeah, we just published our website, so logo coming. It's early
Yeah.
days.
So
We're
what's the
discussing
website? What's the website? Give them a website.
hogrockadventurerally.com.
Perfect. What are the
Um,
dates? What are the dates we're looking at in 2026?
So 2026 is going to be June 25 through 28. Now, there's a
Yeah.
chance that we get our act together and do something in 2025 too.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
we're definitely in for 2026, and in 2025 we might have some sort of soft opening or just a kind of a camp and ride
Yeah.
kind of scenario.
Good. Yeah.
Um,
That's a good way to start it. Like a couple of my events, I kind of started like that. Was, hey, I'm going to come to this place and we're going to do some riding. Come and check it out, and then turn it into a big thing. So
yeah,
nice.
and yeah, thrilled to announce that you, Kane, should hopefully be there in attendance, and
Oh,
we've partnered with the BMW MOA Foundation,
yeah.
and they're helping, kind of bring more attention to the rally,
Hmm.
as well as, more adventure riders and all of their experience. We got to know them through Waylon Wayne.
Yeah.
Um, Great people, and thrilled to be in partnership with Ted and Tammy and that whole crew.
Yeah.
And you're just really excited. I really think that it's going to be a special event. We're going to, do everything from the trials courses to hill climbs to,
Yeah.
it's going to be a full-on event, and yeah, thrilled to share it with you all because it's a beautiful spot. And honestly, if you think about it, there's the distances between rallies on the eastern side of the United States. You know what I mean? I feel
Mhm.
like even though the West is bigger, they have more rallies per capita. We've
Yeah.
got we've got space for growth over here, and the writing is good. And so, um, you know, at this rally, I don't know if you've heard of the Land Between the Lakes or Garden of the Gods or Shawnee National Forest or Mark Twain National Forest, but we are drop dead center in all of those, and the writing is good. So,
That's a good spot.
yeah.
Yeah, we did like a little Zoom call the other day, just kind of talking about this event and just looking at some of them pictures you showed along the river. Like it just looks like a perfect spot for a nice big event like that. And the fact that they've been doing, it's not adventure, but they've been doing basically motorcycle events in that spot for that long. You have all these perfect amenities right there at base camp, and then you have great riding surrounding that whole area. I think it's going to be a nice, big, successful event just from, this initial talking about it. I can't wait to get over there and actually check the area out.
Thanks. Yeah, we're trying to have something for everybody. We're trying to focus on the riding, but
Hmm.
if you want to stay in the grounds and just ride around and enjoy the grounds, you can
Yeah.
do that. We're going to have hopefully some music playing all day long, and facilities open, food trucks and all that good stuff. But
Yeah.
also, we're going to have hopefully the volunteer-led guided tracks. We've got
Yeah.
downloadable tracks that we're already building out. And then of course the grass track as well and trials course. We want the trials course to just be open, right?
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
you can just go play around on it, um, as well as the trails and stuff. So
Yeah.
so just kind of every type of riding plus entertainment. That's the goal.
Heck yeah. Yeah. And I told you I'm definitely interested in supporting and being there and helping promote it for sure. And I definitely, we talked about like what I would want to do when I'm there, and I definitely want to do like a clinic one day, maybe have people follow me on a ride on another day, and then the other day like doing them courses and stuff. Like so, it's for me like it's that'd be an awesome mixture of stuff that I can take advantage of, and then just be there and have fun. That's a good thing about me coming to the events like you're putting on is it gives me an opportunity to meet people and to talk, and then also just to have fun. I'm not in charge. I can be a little bit more laid back and have a good time with it. So I'm excited.
Thank you. And we are so early on, and just getting started. So check us out on Facebook and Instagram, Hogrock Adventure Rally too. I think we have like one follower right now. We're looking forward to
That might be
seeing
me.
that. Yeah, I think it's you and me. Um, and so, I think it is going to grow, and I think there's demand for it. We put calls out to a few folks being like, is this do people want this? And it was a resounding, holy cow, what are you waiting for? So, yeah, we're really excited. Really excited.
Awesome, Mike. Like I said, I'm super looking forward to this event. I've been super appreciative of you supporting Fools. The stickers that you guys sent over have been a hit. Everybody freaking loves them. They're hilarious. So, and I hope, I'm looking forward to seeing you out there this year somewhere. Whale and Wayne, Red River Scramble, I think we saw there last year too. And I'm sure our paths are crossed somewhere else, man, but hopefully on a BDR too, we'll get together, man.
That's right. Looking forward to it.